Chapter 99. With Guan Shui gone, Guan Yao had nothing to fear anymore. Li Fuchen, Shui Jie is magnanimous and admits defeat. But I won't. Guan Yao made up his mind to severely injure Li Fuchen. It would be best if he could crush Li Fuchen's fighting spirit and cripple him. Guan Yao, if you want to fight, I shall accompany you. Li Jinxiu stood out. Li Jinxiu, you are just an 8th-level origin realm martial artist and you dare to challenge Guan Yao? An 8th-level origin realm martial artist stepped out. Li Tianshi stood beside Li Jinxiu and spoke in a deep voice. Guan Yao is a 5th-level origin realm martial artist. How could he dare to challenge Fuchen? Guan Yilong laughed with disdain. My Guan clan is powerful and the rules are set by us. Your Li clansmen can only obey. Li Tianshi, Guan Yilong is right. Your Li clan is no longer as glorious as before. Just accept your fate. I believe Guan Yao knows his limits and won't cripple this kid. Yang Ao realized that the fight between the 3 clans had turned into a fight between 2 clans. His Yang clan couldn't interfere at all, but he was happy about it. In every fight, be it the Guan clan or the Yang clan, it was always fun to bully the Li clan. Li Tianshi was infuriated. Tianshi, since he wants to fight, I shall accompany him. You don't have to interfere. Li Fuchen was infuriated. The current him might not be able to wipe out the Guan and Yang clans, but he could still wipe out any Guan clansmen who were below the 5th level of the origin realm. Other than that, Li Fuchen was never a saint. Since the Guan and Yang clans dared to be so arrogant, he would soon let them know the price of being arrogant. With his perception, he believed that as long as he could break through to the 4th level of the origin realm, he would be able to defeat the leaders of the Guan and Yang clans. Fuchen, Guan Yao is at the 5th level of the origin realm. Li Tianshi reminded. Li Fuchen replied, I know my limits. Alright then. Jinxiu, let's back off. Li Tianshi said to Li Jinxiu. Li Jinxiu nodded helplessly and retreated with Li Tianshi. She then looked at Li Fuchen with a worried expression. Did I hear it wrong? This kid wants to fight Guan Yao. The Yang family juniors were stunned for a moment before bursting into laughter, as if they had heard the funniest joke in the world. The difference between the 2nd and 5th level of the origin realm was 3 whole levels. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that a 2nd-level origin realm martial artist defeating a 5th-level origin realm martial artist was as difficult as a 2nd-level Qi realm martial artist defeating a 7th-level Qi realm martial artist. It was almost impossible. Stupid. Kai Yang, who had already reached the peak of the 9th level of the Qi realm, spat out a few words. It is very stupid. Yang Zhan and Yang Lai sneered. In the pavilion, the Shen Tu clansmen were waiting to see Li Fuchen make a fool of himself. Compared to the previous battles between the 3 clans, this year's battle between the 3 clans was especially interesting. It was worth coming to watch. Ignorant kid, I really don't know how you got to this step. Maybe God is blind and let you get away with it. Guan Yao grinned, revealing his white teeth. You can try. Li Fuchen placed his right hand on the black iron sword's hilt. Against a 5th-level origin realm inner sect disciple, he couldn't possibly fight with his bare fists. Kid, get down. Guan Yao's bone frame wasn't that great, but he had been in the Zhanglan sect for more than a decade. More than 10 years was enough for him to cultivate the Green Shadow Mystic Technique to the 9th rank. At this moment, the Green Shadow Mystic Technique was fully revolved. A 4-foot-long True Qi blade suddenly appeared on the black iron sword and slashed at Li Fuchen. Revolving the 11th rank Scarlet Flame Mystic Technique, Li Fuchen met the attack with his sword. As the 2 swords clashed, the ground was filled with thousands of holes. These holes were caused by the Qi forces from the 2 black iron swords. Slightly stronger than the masked man. Li Fuchen instantly judged Guan Yao's ability. The masked man cultivated a peak tier, yellow class technique. Even if he cultivated it to the highest rank, it would only be equivalent to the 7th rank of the Scarlet Flame Mystic Technique. Guan Yao's Jade Shadow Mystic Technique should be at the 9th rank, which was 2 ranks higher than the masked man. But the masked man's cultivation was 1 rank higher than Guan Hao's, which was why both of their Qi levels were about the same. But Guan Yao's physical strength was much higher than the masked man's. Therefore, his ability was naturally a notch higher. A pity, I am no longer the same person I was back then. Had it been a while ago, Li Fuchen wouldn't have been able to go against Guan Yao head-on. He could only rely on his superior physical defense and wind shadow steps to deal with Guan Yao, waiting for an opportunity to defeat his opponent. But now, Li Fuchen's Scarlet Flame Mystic technique had broken through to the 11th rank. His wind shadow steps and meteor sword style were both at the completion stage. His ability had increased by a notch. Dang 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 dang. The two of them clashed in a frenzy. Sparks flew in all directions, accompanied by a violent chi force. He actually blocked my full force attack. Guan Yao didn't believe it and pushed his chi to the limit. Maintaining the length of the chi blade, he frenziedly slashed at Li Fuchen. As the saying goes, an inch longer, an inch stronger. He wanted to make use of his advantage in length to defeat Li Fuchen in a single blade. But Li Fuchen was experienced and didn't give Guan Yao the chance to utilize his advantage in length. Either he attacked in close range, or he would widen the distance and use his exquisite sword skills to neutralize the chi blade. Soaring Cloud Slash. After a dozen exchanges, Guan Yao seized the opportunity and suddenly slashed with his sword. The violent chi blade was like a whip, lashing at Li Fuchen. The chi blade penetrated Li Fuchen's body. But it was just an afterimage. With the wind shadow steps at the completion stage, Li Fuchen's speed was extremely fast and easily circled to Guan Yao's side. Meteor Fall. While in mid-air, Li Fuchen executed his ultimate sword move. A stream of light flashed in mid-air. Guan Yao's chi protection was broken and the black iron sword pierced into his shoulder. Li Fuchen exerted strength in his arm and lifted Guan Yao up. You have lost. Landing on the ground, Li Fuchen lifted his opponent in mid-air and spoke in a cold tone. Guan Yao's body was twitching in pain, along with endless humiliation. To be lifted up by a sword, what kind of humiliation was this? Is Fuchen still human? Li Tianshi and Li Jinxiu were flabbergasted. Surpassing 3 levels to defeat Guan Yao was something they didn't even dare to think about. Guan Yao wasn't a martial artist of the pugilistic world and didn't have any good cultivation techniques or sword art manuals. As a 5th-level Origin Realm Inner Sect disciple, Guan Yao's resources were much richer than the pugilistic world. Impossible! This was the first time Guan Yilong lost his composure as his lips twitched. The Guan clansmen behind him looked at each other in dismay. Some even rubbed their eyes, suspecting that they were hallucinating. If there is a chance, I must eliminate this person. Yang Ao squeezed each word out from the gaps of his teeth. With Li Fuchen around, the Yang clan was in danger. If Li Fuchen continued to grow, once he progressed to the Earth Realm, even Yunwu City's city lord, Shentu Jianhe wouldn't be able to suppress him. What do you guys think? Is it better for our Shentu clan to be the only clan in Yunwu City, or are there other clans that share the limelight with us? Shentu Jiaming stood up and squinted his eyes. Of course it is better for our Shentu clan to be the only clan in Yunwu City. A Shentu clansman replied. Chapter 100. Swinging his sword, Guan Yao was flung away. Li Fuchen shook off the bloodstains on the black iron sword and spoke indifferently, who else? Apart from Guan Shui, as long as the rest of the Guan clansmen didn't exceed the 5th level of the Origin Realm, Li Fuchen had the confidence to win. Even if he was at the 6th level of the Origin Realm, he could rely on his tough physical defense to fight against them. Of course, he didn't want to be so tired. The disciples of the Guan family were furious, but there was nothing they could do. Among them, there were only 2 who were at the 5th level of the Origin Realm. The other one didn't think he was any stronger than Guan Yao and would at most be on par with Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen, very good. Seems like we have underestimated you. But you should show some respect to your seniors. The Yang clan's Yang Lai walked out. On the eve of the Cloud Mist City Genius Tournament, the inner sect disciples of the 4 major clans rushed back. The inner sect disciples from the Yang family were Yang Lai and Yang Zhan. Yang Lai was 26 years old this year and was at the 5th level of the Origin Realm. In terms of talent, he was much better than the 27-year-old Guan Yao. Right now, he was looking at Li Fuchen with eyes filled with jealousy and gloominess. During the Cloud Mist City Genius battle, Zhang Xian was still a small fry. It had only been 2 years, but he had grown to such an extent. Back then, Yang Lai could crush Li Fuchen with a single finger. "Senior, do you think you're worthy?" Li Fuchen was indifferent. "What a disrespectful guy." Yang Lai's eyes narrowed into slits. Previously, when Li Fuchen was able to defeat Guan Yao, he mainly relied on the meteor sword style. But coincidentally, he had sparred with an inner sect disciple who cultivated the meteor sword style, hence he had some understanding of the meteor sword style. The meteor sword art only had one move, and this move was extremely extreme. Not only was its speed astonishingly fast, but its lethality was also astonishing. If he wanted to contend against the meteor sword art, he could only counter it with his own move. He could not allow his opponent to find an opening where he had already used up all his strength. Shio. But after exchanging moves, Yang Lai knew he had underestimated Li Fuchen. Li Fuchen's meteor sword style had an extremely short chi recovery time, allowing him to execute the second and third sword within a short period of time. Tired of dealing with them, he couldn't organize an effective counterattack. "You've cultivated the meteor sword art to the great accomplishment realm?" Yang Lai exclaimed. "You don't need to know." Li Fuchen naturally cultivated the meteor sword style to the subperfection stage. Normally speaking, yellow class martial arts were meant for Qi realm and Origin realm martial artists. Mystic class martial arts corresponded to Earth realm and Heaven realm martial artists. Hence, when an Origin realm martial artist executed a mystic class martial art, it would be rather strenuous. They would require a certain amount of time to recharge their chi and couldn't execute it continuously. But if one were to cultivate a profound level martial art to the great accomplishment realm, the time needed to recover chi would be greatly reduced. A light flashed, and Yang Lai's chest was pierced by a sword. If he didn't react in time, this sword was enough to make him lose his combat power. "Yang Lai, come back." Yang Ao suddenly said, "You do have some strength. I've learned a thing or two." Yang Lai didn't have a chance to get off the stage. Hearing this, he quickly jumped back and jumped out of the battle circle, but his face didn't look good. Who else? Li Fuchen continued to scan the Guan and Yang clansmen. The eyes of the two clans' disciples twitched. How arrogant! The Shin Tu family clan disciples could not stand it any longer. Of course, with their high status, they were not willing to get involved in this mess. "Ha!" Li Tianshi laughed loudly. "Fuchen, come back too. From what I see, no one below the 5th level of the Origin realm is a match for you. And those above the 5th level of the Origin realm wouldn't be so thick-skinned to challenge you." He was afraid that a 6th level Origin realm martial artist would challenge Li Fuchen. If that was the case, it wouldn't be easy for him to stop. Li Fuchen knew when to stop and silently retreated to the Li clan's camp. "Li Tianshi, don't be too happy yet. What happened earlier was just the appetizer. Next is the main course." Guan Yilong spoke with a gloomy expression. "Guan Xiong is right. Li Tianshi, you better be mentally prepared." Yang Ao stared at Li Tianshi. "Bring it on. My Li clan never fears a battle." Li Tianshi spoke with a heroic tone. The Li clan only had 3 individuals above the 5th level of the Origin realm. One was Li Tianshi at the 8th level of the Origin realm, Li Jinxiu at the 8th level of the Origin realm, and Li Xuantu at the 6th level of the Origin realm. The Guan clan had 6 individuals above the 5th level of the Origin realm, while the Yang clan had 5. After a few battles, the Guan clan and the Yang clan were evenly matched, while the Li clan was much weaker. Fortunately, Li Jinxiu defeated a Guan clan clansman and a Yang clan clansman respectively, which didn't make the Li clan look bad. "Li Tianshi, come out. Let's have a showdown." In the end, only Guan Yilong, Li Tianshi, and Yang Ao had yet to make a move. Guan Yilong pointed at Li Tianshi and spoke arrogantly. "I will accompany you to the end." Li Tianshi dashed out. Boom 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 boom. An intense battle between martial artists at the 8th level of the Origin realm was too horrifying. The qi on the black iron sword extended to a length of 7 to 8 feet. With the addition of the black iron sword's length, it was over a dozen feet. Which means to say, with a distance of a dozen feet, the two of them could slash a weaker martial artist to death. Mystic Water Sword Style. Radiance Sword Style. Guan Yilong's black iron sword released a large amount of qi, condensing into a large water ball shape and blasted at Li Tianxia. Li Tianxia's black iron sword also released a large amount of qi, condensing into a dazzling light ball the size of a millstone. He then slashed at Li Tianxia. Rumble. There was a tremor as the ground between the two of them exploded into a crater that was a few meters in size. Gravel and dirt flew everywhere, just like countless hidden weapons. In the end, the two of them couldn't determine a victor. The Li clan might have weakened, but this was something that happened in the recent decades. During Li Tianxia's generation, the Li clan was at its peak. The younger generation wasn't inferior to the Guan and Yang clansmen. After the battle with Guan Yilong, Li Tianxia had another battle with Yang Ao. One had to admit that with their similar innate talents, unless one of them had a breakthrough, it would be extremely difficult to defeat the other in a short period of time. Such an exciting battle. My hands are itching to watch. In the pavilion, the Shentu clan's youth generation leader, Shentu Jianming, stood up and laughed heartily. Jianming Xiong must be joking. Guan Yilong and Yang Ao cupped their fists toward Shentu Jianming. Shentu Jianming, 32 years old, 9th level of the Origin Realm. With a 3-star bone frame, he had hopes of breaking through to the Earth Realm before the age of 35 and becoming a direct disciple of the Zhanglan sect. Among the 4 major clans, there wasn't a single direct disciple in the Zhanglan sect. If any of the clans had a direct disciple, it would be enough to intimidate the other 3 clans. But if the Shentu clan had a direct disciple, it would solidify the Shentu clan's position. Li Tianxia twitched his mouth and didn't say a word. All these years, the Li clan's descendants had been bullied by the Shentu clan's descendants. They used the fact that they were descendants of the City Lord's clan and were bossy and arrogant. They even helped the Guan and Yang clans in the dark. Li Tianxia wasn't going to curry favor with them. Looking at Li Fuchen, Shentu Jianming said, "You aren't bad. Not sure if you are interested in becoming my follower." He wanted to subdue Li Fuchen. No matter what his bone frame was, at the Origin Realm, he was definitely a formidable individual. "Sorry, I am not interested." Li Fuchen immediately rejected. Giving a light smile, Shentu Jianming said, "I hope you won't regret it. Let's go." Chapter 101. Fuchen, you were too dazzling today. I'm afraid the Guan clan and Yang clan won't tolerate you. The Shentu clan will fear you too. After everyone left, Li Tianxia said to Li Fuchen. Li Jinxiu, who stayed behind, nodded. Try not to leave the sect in the future. When you are out on missions, you have to be careful. Better safe than sorry. Li Fuchen's normal bone frame was too strange. To be honest, the two of them suspected if Li Fuchen's bone frame was a demonic one, but the bone frame stone couldn't detect it. If not, why would a normal bone frame be so domineering? Understood, I will not give them the chance. Li Fuchen nodded. At the current stage, he didn't have the ability to protect himself, no matter how much of a perception he had. Only after becoming an Earth Realm martial artist would he have the qualifications to go against the 3 major clans. After separating from Li Tianxia and Li Jinxiu, Li Fuchen headed towards the inner sect martial hall. 2 missions gave Li Fuchen an additional 9,800 contribution points. With the points from before, Li Fuchen had a total of 42,000 contribution points. This amount of contribution points was too little and could only redeem 1 mystic class, mid-tier martial arts manual. Li Fuchen thought for a moment and decided to redeem 1 or 2 mystic class, low-tier martial arts. A swordsman mainly cultivated sword arts, but they couldn't do without other martial arts. Without a sword, a swordsman's combat ability would drop to a very low level. Arriving at the martial hall, Li Fuchen paced around the mystic class, low-tier martial arts manual section. When walking out, Li Fuchen picked 2 secret manuals. They were a palm technique and a leg technique respectively. The palm art was the iron smelting hand. The leg art was the shadowless leg. The iron smelting hand was very dominant. At a high rank, one could melt steel with their bare hands and extract impurities. Using it to attack the enemy was a form of torture. The shadowless leg was a leg art that specialized in speed. At a high rank, the leg's speed would be astonishing. Most importantly, as long as it was a leg art, it would be enhanced with a light body technique. As for how much it would be enhanced, it would depend on the mastery of both the shadowless leg and the light body technique. Because he was a first-grade inner sect disciple, 2 martial arts manuals that were worth 30,000 contribution points, after a 30% discount, only cost 21,000 contribution points. It helped Li Fuchen save 9,000 contribution points. For the next few days, Li Fuchen diligently practiced the shadowless leg and iron smelting hand. Of course, Li Fuchen didn't neglect the cultivation of the wind shadow steps and meteor sword style. However, after the wind shadow incantation and meteor sword technique reached great perfection, the focus was on comprehension. There was no need to train diligently. In a flash, Li Fuchen had been an inner sect disciple for an entire year. In a world of ice and snow, the young man activated his scarlet fire vital qi and struck out with his palm. A dazzling red light blossomed, melting all the ice and snow within a few meters radius. As expected of the iron smelting hand, to be able to unleash the heat of the scarlet fire qi to such an extent. Li Fuchen was very satisfied with the prowess of the iron smelting hand. As he let out an arc withdrawing the scarlet mystic flame technique, Li Fuchen revolved the wind shadow steps and leapt high into the air. With a flash of his body, he kicked at the iron ore that was as tall as a human. In a single breath, it was unknown how many times Li Fuchen kicked the fine iron ore. Due to the extreme speed, it was as though there were 3 or 4 Li Fuchen kicking the fine iron ore. The scariest thing was that apart from the loud sound of kicking the ore, Li Fuchen didn't make any movement. It was as if he had transformed into a ghost, tangible but intangible. With the last kick, Li Fuchen's body flashed and landed on the ground like a wisp of green smoke. 5 meters away, the fine iron ore was split into 7 or 8 pieces. After a few months of cultivation, Li Fuchen had cultivated both the iron smelting hand and shadowless leg to the completion stage. As compared to the wind shadow steps and meteor sword style, the difficulty of cultivating the iron smelting hand and shadowless leg was much lower. With the green soul spirit, Li Fuchen had an easy time cultivating. Immersing his consciousness into his mind, Li Fuchen saw that the green ball of soul spirit had turned pale blue by 20%. The transformation speed is very slow. It seems like it will take a long time before the soul spirit is completely pale blue. Even though it was a little helpless, Li Fuchen had no other choice. Fortunately for him, the green soul spirit was more than enough. It is time to earn some contribution points. After becoming an inner sect disciple for a year, Li Fuchen didn't go to the Zhonglan Lake even once. To him, if he were to sacrifice the time and space to cultivate his martial arts in order to earn contribution points, it would be a waste. After all, the purpose of earning contribution points was to become stronger. Now that all of his martial arts and sword arts were at completion stage, he didn't need to concentrate on cultivation anymore and just needed to slowly comprehend them. So going to the Zhonglan Lake wouldn't affect his progress. On this day, on a fishing platform at the Zhonglan Lake, there was a strange sight. An inner sect disciple actually came to the Zhonglan Lake to fish. It was a known fact that inner sect disciples had many ways to earn contribution points. A simple mission could easily earn 1 or 2,000 or even a few thousand contribution points. But fishing at the Zhonglan Lake, if one was lucky, one might be able to catch a treasure fish worth up to 1,000 contribution points in a month. But if one was unlucky, it was normal to only catch 1 or 200 contribution points worth of treasure fish in a month. This is so weird. An inner sect disciple actually came to join in the fun. Could it be that he isn't doing well in the inner sect? Some of the outer sect disciples were discussing in low voices. What do you guys know? He is Li Fuchen Xixiang and was once the outer sect's #1 disciple. How could he be doing badly? An outer sect disciple who knew Li Fuchen replied. So he is Li Fuchen Xixiang? Hearing this, everyone was shocked. Li Fuchen's achievements in the outer sect left a deep impression. Just the result of the Tower of Tribulations of 6 ticks was enough for everyone to worship him. Li Fuchen Xixiang has another nickname, Fishing King. Fishing King? What does that mean? A new outer sect disciple asked. Others can at most catch 1,000 plus contribution points worth of treasure fish in a month. But Li Fuchen Xixiang can easily catch over 10,000 points worth of treasure fish in a month. It can't be. How is that possible? 10,000 plus points a month? I heard that most of the outer sect elders only get around 10,000 or 20,000 points a year. Why would I lie to you? Who doesn't know Li Fuchen Xixiang? This is too scary. 10,000 plus points a month? How many mid-tier, yellow-class body-tempering pills can that be exchanged for? Li Fuchen's appearance instantly became the center of attention. After hearing about his achievements, everyone was filled with admiration and envy. Li Fuchen only gave a light smile and didn't say anything. The days of fishing were dull and boring. Time flowed like water. 1 month passed, 2 months passed. In the blink of the eye, 9 months had passed. After fishing for 9 months, Li Fuchen's contribution points had increased from 21,000 to 150,000. With his status as a first-grade inner sect disciple, he could redeem a yellow-class, high-tier body refinement technique with his contribution points. Chapter 102. Elite Class, Mid-Tier Mission, Kill the Wanted Criminal, Zhao Da. Zhao Da, 7th level of the Origin Realm. Cultivation Technique, Yellow Class, High Tier, Fierce Tiger Technique. Martial Arts, Fierce Tiger Fist and Fierce Tiger Sword Style. Mission Reward, 5,000 contribution points. Li Fuchen didn't accept a difficult class, mid-tier mission, but an elite class, mid-tier mission instead. It was also an elite class, mid-tier mission, but the reward for killing Zhao Da was much lower than the mission to eliminate the Black Wind Bandit Band. The latter rewarded 8,000 contribution points. This was a peaceful little town. The town's roads were full of potholes, and from time to time, cow dung and horse dung could be seen. In the middle of the town, in a simple and crude restaurant, a fierce-looking man was eating and drinking to his heart's content. On the right side of the table, there was a sheathless broadsword that looked like it could kill. Clatter, clatter. A youth walked in. The youth took a quick glance and found the man. Zhao Dahu. Li Fuchen spoke. Zhao Da lifted his head and sized up Li Fuchen. Are you here to kill me? That's right. With just you. With just me? In your dreams. Clatter. Zhao Da flipped the table, sending the food and soup flying. He was like a ferocious tiger, sprinting onto the streets. With a bend of his knee, he jumped onto the roof and started sprinting. Inside the restaurant, Li Fuchen's figure had long vanished without a trace. Outside the restaurant, one could occasionally see a shadow flitting by. On the slope outside of the town, Zhao Da stopped. In front of him was Li Fuchen quietly standing there. You can't escape. Li Fuchen was unruffled. Zhao Dahu's vicious aura exploded. Little brat, do you really think I am afraid of you? I am only afraid that if I kill you, that Song Lan sect will pursue me. Killing a Song Lan inner sect disciple would undoubtedly attract the attention of the Song Lan sect. Zhao Da didn't wish to be pursued by an even stronger inner sect disciple. As long as you can block a palm strike from me, I can let you go. Li Fuchen placed his left hand behind his back, while his right hand hung down naturally. Zhao Da wielded his steel broadsword with both hands and slashed at Li Fuchen in a frenzy. The sound of qi tearing through the air was like the roar of a ferocious tiger. With a flash, Li Fuchen dodged Zhao Dahu's frenzied slash and struck at Zhao Dahu's shoulder. A bright red light blossomed. Li Fuchen's palm strike. Zhao Dahu's shoulder instantly caved in and was charred black. His entire body was like a scarecrow as he flew out. In an instant, he couldn't be more dead. 13 months, my ability has at least quadrupled. Li Fuchen wasn't surprised to kill Zhao Dahu with a single palm strike. No one knew his own strength better than him. After 13 months, 50% of his soul had turned light blue. the Scarlet Flame mystic art broke through to the 13th stage. Origin realm, 4th level realm. Apart from this, his Wind Shadow incantation, Meteor Sword art, Iron Smelting Hand technique, and Shadowless kick all broke through to the greater perfection realm. After experiencing so many breakthroughs, Shi Feng had no idea what his current strength was. Hence, he had accepted a mid-tier elite quest to test himself. All Li Liang class. Criminal Dahu, Li, demon class. 13 months ago, Li Fuchen had to rack his brains to kill the masked man. Li Fuchen found a few 1,000 gold cards on Zhao Dahu's body. He took off his head and left quietly. Mission Hall. A team mission? After handing in the mission, Li Fuchen didn't leave immediately. He wanted to pick a hard class, mid-tier mission. Carrying out sect missions may not be as fast as fishing for treasure fish, but it was still worth a lot of gold coins. Within the sect, the value of gold coins was far below contribution points. But in the outside world, contribution points were worthless, while gold coins were the currency. There were plenty of hard class, mid-tier missions. After browsing for a while, Li Fuchen found a team mission. This team mission was to help Guangzhou City defend against a beast wave. The mission reward was 10,000 contribution points. Defend against demonic beasts? Li Fuchen was curious about this mission. Yunwu City had experienced many beast waves, but he had never seen one before. This shitty, I advise you not to accept this mission. A square-faced inner sect disciple who was 10 years older than Li Fuchen advised. Li Fuchen asked, why? Defending against a beast wave is extremely tiring and dangerous. Those who accept this mission are either inner sect disciples who are at least at the 5th level of the origin realm or have astounding talent in body refinement. Li Fuchen replied, even if it isn't dangerous, I'm afraid I wouldn't accept it. Shaking his head, the square-faced inner sect disciple said, the beast wave isn't as simple as you think. Not only does it require a strong ability, it also requires a strong qi. If you only have a strong ability but not enough qi, you won't even have time to consume a qi returning pill. If your qi isn't strong enough, your life will be in danger. Every year, at least 8 out of 10 inner sect disciples die on this mission. Thank you Xianxia for the reminder, but I have confidence in myself. Li Fuchen rejected his kind intentions. I am just giving you a piece of advice, it is up to you whether you want to listen or not. The square-faced inner sect disciple sighed and left. He suddenly had a sudden thought and wanted to advise Li Fuchen to prevent him from losing his life in Xianxia town. He didn't expect Li Fuchen to be so stubborn and not listen to his advice. Seems like these newly promoted inner sect disciples wouldn't know the immensity of heaven and earth without going through some hardships. If a difficulty class, mid-tier mission was so easy to complete, would it still be called a difficulty class, mid-tier mission? After spending half a month, Li Fuchen finally arrived at Guangzhou City's Xianxia town. The reason why Guangzhou City was called Guangzhou City was due to its proximity to the Guangzhou Mountains. The demonic beasts of the Guangzhou Mountains were extremely violent and would wreak havoc in Guangzhou City every year. Every decade, there would be a large-scale beast wave. Xianxia town, the first strategic town of Guangzhou City. It was said that there was once a Class 5 demonic beast's fresh blood that spilled on the ground of Xianxia town, causing the heaven and earth energy here to be extremely dense. Cultivating here would yield twice the results with half the effort. Perhaps it was because of this reason that Xianxia town became one of the main targets of the Guangzhou Mountains' demonic beasts. Arriving at Xianxia town, Li Fuchen couldn't help but sigh at the scale of Xianxia town. Xianxia town was a few folds bigger than a regular town. The outer walls were at least 20 meters tall and 10 meters thick. They were all forged with ores and had an unimaginable toughness. Li Fuchen wasn't able to break the walls in a single strike, not even a few dozen strikes. His meteor fall could only pierce a 1-meter-long hole in the walls. Even if he were to consecutively execute a few dozen strikes, it would only cause the walls to look like a hornet's nest. Xianxia town had a total of 2 town gates. Li Fuchen entered from the west gate. Within Xianxia town, there were many martial artists and troops patrolling the town. These troops were the Xianxia town's army. The lowest cultivation level of the soldiers was at least at the 9th level of the Qi realm. Other than that, Li Fuchen saw plenty of Zhanglan inner sect disciples. Just like what the square-faced inner sect disciple said, they were all above the 5th level of the origin realm. Li Fuchen. Chapter 103. You accepted this mission too? Li Fuchen asked. Li Fuchen was surprised to bump into Wu Qingmei. After becoming an inner sect disciple, everyone was busy with their own things. If there wasn't anything important, there wouldn't be any interactions. It has been a long time since he bumped into Yuan Tian and Wu Qingmei. Wu Qingmei replied, Why? Can't I? Do you think my ability isn't enough? Of course not. Li Fuchen sized up Wu Qingmei. Wu Qingmei's cultivation was already at the 4th level of the origin realm. This was the benefit of having a high bone frame. The cultivation speed was extremely fast. Li Fuchen was only able to progress to the 4th level of the origin realm after reaching the 13th rank of the Scarlet Mystic Flame technique. Your cultivation speed is rather fast. Seems like we have underestimated you. Wu Qingmei was surprised to find out that Li Fuchen was at the 4th level of the origin realm. She thought Li Fuchen was at most at the 2nd or 3rd level of the origin realm. Li Fuchen laughed and didn't say a word. Wu Qingmei said, Other than me, Gao Changtian is here too. How about joining our team? When the beast wave erupts, we can take care of each other. Gao Changtian is in your team too? Hearing that Gao Changtian was in Wu Qingmei's team, Li Fuchen was tempted. Back in the outer sect, Gao Changtian once helped him. This was a favor that Li Fuchen had never forgotten. That's right. Other than Gao Changtian, our team has 7 other Zhanglan inner sect disciples. The team leader is Liao Hailong Xixiang. He is at the 6th level of the origin realm and has completed high-tier missions before. With him around, we will be much safer. Wu Qingmei said. Liao Hailong, huh? Li Fuchen had heard of him before. Just like Wu Qingmei and Gao Changtun, Liao Hailong was also an inner sect prodigy. Wu Shimi, who is this? Why don't you introduce him to us? Right at this moment, 8 youths walked over from a nearby street. The leader had broad shoulders and a slender waist, carrying a black iron broadsword on his back. Li Fuchen. Beside the youth, Gao Changtian's eyes lit up as he laughed. Gao Changtian. Li Fuchen laughed too. The Azure Water sect's prodigies were all extremely arrogant, but only Gao Changtian gave off a different vibe. He had a gentle and scholarly feeling. Why are you here too? You have progressed to the 4th level of the origin realm? Such speed. Gao Changtian was surprised. He progressed to the origin realm a few months earlier than Li Fuchen, but he was only at the 4th level of the origin realm now. I was lucky. Li Fuchen replied humbly. When the young man in the lead saw that the two of them had ignored him, his face darkened and he said ambiguously, Junior brother Gao, I thought that your personality was like this when I saw your usually taciturn look. So it was just an act. Hearing this, Gao Changtian's face darkened. His lips moved as if he wanted to say something, but after glancing at Wu Qingmei, his lips tightened and he remained silent. Wu Qingmei quickly introduced, Liao Xixiang, this is the Li Fuchen who defeated Yuan Tian. Li Fuchen? Never heard of you. Wu Shimi, the beast wave might erupt at any moment. It is best for you to stay with me. Liao Hailong ignored Li Fuchen and spoke to Wu Qingmei. Wu Qingmei laughed awkwardly, many thanks for Liao Xixiang's concern. But Li Fuchen is my friend, can he join our team? Your friend? Liao Hailong glanced at Li Fuchen. Since you are Wu Shimi's friend, I will give you some face. But you must remember, I am the captain of this team. When the time comes, listen to my orders. If you don't blame me for kicking you out of the team. Li Fuchen looked at Liao Hailong, Wu Qingmei, and Gao Changtian and sighed. To be honest, he didn't know what Wu Qingmei was thinking. If Gao Changtian had a poor bone frame, he wouldn't have said anything. But Gao Changtian's bone frame wasn't any worse than Liao Hailong's, just that he was born a year or 2 later. Could it be his background? From what he knew, Gao Changtian came from a small clan that couldn't even be compared to his Li clan. What's wrong? Are you mute? Liao Hailong frowned. The more he looked at Li Fuchen, the more he disliked him. Li Fuchen cleared his throat. Apologies, I was distracted. Regarding the matter of joining the team, just treat me as an external member. I don't like to listen to other people's orders. Had it not been for Gao Changtian, he wouldn't have interacted with these people. External member? You mean you can ignore my orders and still accept my protection? Isn't that a little better? Liao Hailong's face darkened. Li Fuchen replied, I will take care of my own safety. You don't have to worry about it. Who do you think you are? Liao Shixiang allowing you to join the team is giving face to Wu Shimi. If you aren't willing to follow Liao Shixiang's orders, you can leave now. Arrogant. With your ability, once the beast wave erupts, you will still need Liao Shixiang's protection. Don't flatter yourself. A few of the inner sect disciples behind Liao Hailong mocked. At this moment, Wu Qingmei regretted. She knew Liao Hailong had his pride. All geniuses had their own pride. What's more, Liao Hailong had the backing of a clan that spanned over a dozen cities. As the young master of a clan, anyone would have their own pride. But she didn't expect Li Fuchen's pride to be on par with Liao Hailong's. Compared to Gao Changtian, they were two extremes. To be honest, she didn't want Li Fuchen to join them at first. But after seeing Li Fuchen break through to the 4th level of the Origin Realm, she felt he wasn't as simple as he seemed and wanted to befriend him. Li Fuchen, it isn't possible to be an outside member. Actually, an official member is good too. I think Liao Shixiang wouldn't give out an unacceptable order for no reason. Wu Qingmei advised. Forget it then. I am not used to being managed. Gao Changtian, let's catch up when we have the time. Finishing his sentence, Li Fuchen turned and left, heading towards the center of Shoshue town. There were plenty of ways to repay Gao Changtian's favor. There wasn't a need to throw away his pride and allow Liao Hailong to trample on him. What's more, if he agreed, Liao Hailong might even step on his pride. There wasn't a need. At most, he would pay more attention to Gao Changtian. If he was in danger, he would step up and help. Count on Liao Hailong? Liao Hailong's mind was on Wu Qingmei. Gao Changtian was nothing in his eyes. What's with the act, Pui? Liao Shixiang, don't bother with such a person. If he thinks he is great just because he was once the outer sect #1 disciple, then he is wrong. He is just a normal bone frame. What's there to be proud of? Right, this kind of person doesn't have much ability, but he sure is arrogant. A few of the inner sect disciples discussed with extreme disdain. Liao Hailong said, the more arrogant he is, the more inferior he feels. Why would I lower myself to his level? Wu Shimi, let's go for a meal. Even though he said so, in his heart he had already memorized Li Fuchen. Chapter 104. In the middle of Shoshue town was a majestic grand hall. Resisting the beast wave mission required one to register at the grand hall. If not, it would not count. Entering the grand hall, Li Fuchen saw a few inner sect disciples registering their identities. There were also plenty of outer sect elders dressed in blue robes. Outer sect elders could not only receive job contribution points, they could also carry out elder missions like inner sect disciples to receive bonus contribution points. But elder class missions were rare and not every outer sect elder had the chance to do so. Li Fuchen didn't know how it was arranged. After registering his identity, Li Fuchen received a distress talisman. During the beast wave, inner sect disciples had to head out to kill demonic beasts. They wouldn't allow you to stay in Shoshue town and enjoy the fruits of your labor. If you met with any danger, you could crush the distress talisman and an outer sect elder would come to your rescue. Of course, after one distress talisman was used up, no one would come to your rescue the second time. You could only pray for your own luck. Qin Shiji, I didn't expect so many people to accept this mission. There must be at least a few hundred inner sect disciples. Resisting the beast wave might be dangerous, but the rewards are plenty. If you are lucky, you could even get a few Class 2 demonic beast cores. That would be considered a small fortune. Your Shiji is here for the demon cores. Just as Li Fuchen was about to exit the grand hall, two girls walked in. The three of them looked at each other and recognized each other. The two girls were Plum Sword, Qin Fanghua and Zhao Mingyue. Plum Sword, Qin Fanghua, 8th level of the Origin Realm, 23 years old this year. It could be said that the direct disciple status was within her reach. After all, there was still another 12 years before she turned 35. Zhao Mingyue, the granddaughter of the Inner Sect Grand Elder, 4th level of the Origin Realm. What the coincidence, Li Fuchen. Zhao Mingyue's appearance was extremely beautiful. Her skin was smooth and creamy, and her entire person was like a jade statue, without any flaws. When she was in the outer sect, she was already the leader of the outer sect's 4 great beauties. After becoming an inner sect disciple, her temperament became even more refined. It is indeed a coincidence. Li Fuchen nodded with a smile on his face. 4th level of the Origin Realm, Li Shidi sure is a surprise. Qin Fanghua was also a beauty. She sized up Li Fuchen without a trace. It didn't matter if she didn't look, but when she looked, she was shocked and couldn't help but ask. 4th level Origin Realm? With Zhao Mingyue's qi intent, she could sense that Li Fuchen was already at the 4th level of the Origin Realm. He looked extremely deep and unfathomable, like a deep pool of water. What secrets are you hiding in your body? A normal bone frame wouldn't be able to make such progress. Zhao Mingyue was very curious and asked straightforwardly. Li Fuchen rubbed his chin. A secret isn't a secret anymore once it is revealed. What's more, I don't have any secrets, I just have some perception. Li Fuchen naturally wouldn't reveal his secret. Zhao Mingyue said, "It's fine if you don't want to say it. I don't think you will. Go back to your work. I shall make a move first." Li Fuchen didn't wish to speak more with the two of them and walked out of the mayor's hall. Qin Fanghua gazed at Li Fuchen's departing back and smiled at Zhao Mingyue. This Li Shidi is rather peculiar. If it was anyone else, they would have wanted to travel with us. But he treated us like air. Senior Apprentice Sister Qin, what realm do you think he will reach in the end? Zhao Mingyue asked. Qin Fanghua shook her head. It's hard to say. According to Bone Frame, the Earth realm is his limit. Even if he has a heaven-defying fate, he can only reach the Heaven realm. But what? But just like what you said, if he is hiding any secrets, then it would be incredible. You have to know that he defeated you and Yuan Shidi. Zhao Mingyue pursed her lips. Her eyes that were as black as the stars flickered a little as she smiled. Time will prove everything. If he is able to break through to the Earth realm before the age of 25, his future achievements might even surpass Yuan Tian. Maybe. Qin Fanghua didn't comment. Li Fuchen was a special case. No one could predict his future. There sure are a lot of inner sect disciples. On the streets, there were Tsonglan inner sect disciples everywhere. All of them were at least at the 5th level of the Origin Realm. There weren't many who were below the 5th level of the Origin Realm. In the sky, a gigantic shadow flitted across. A horrifying sound was emitted, echoing across a radius of 12 miles. On the streets, everyone was panicking, thinking that a beast wave was about to break out. Usually, when a beast wave broke out, it would be the flying demonic beasts that attacked Xianxia town first. Li Fuchen felt an itch in his ears and couldn't help but look up. With his astounding eyesight, Li Fuchen could see a gigantic demonic bird flying a few hundred meters in the sky. Its body was about 7 to 8 meters long, and its feathers faintly glowed with a cold, metallic luster. Its huge claws were golden in color, as if they were made of gold. The strangest thing was that it had 2 heads, each with a single horn growing from its head. Class 3 mid-tier flying demonic beast, single-horned twin-headed bird. It's a Class 3 demonic beast. This was Li Fuchen's first time seeing a Class 3 demonic beast. Class 3 demonic beasts were on par with Earth realm martial artists. Due to their tough bodies and terrifying demonic chi, a regular middle-leveled Earth realm martial artist would be instantly killed by the single-horned twin-headed bird. The single-horned twin-headed bird didn't intend to attack Xianxia town. It flew across the skies of Xianxia town and soon became a blacked. Xianxia town is much more dangerous than I imagined. Li Fuchen lamented. Once a beast wave broke out, it wasn't just Class 1 and 2 demonic beasts, even Class 3 demonic beasts would appear. Accompanying them were Class 1 and Class 2 demons. Class 3 demons were rarely seen, and once they appeared, only a Heaven Realm martial artist would be able to kill them. After finding an inn, Li Fuchen checked into it. It was currently noon, and after having his lunch, Li Fuchen began to cultivate the Scarlet Mystic Flame technique. 2 hours later, Li Fuchen opened his eyes and thought to himself, "This is Xianxia town indeed. The heaven and earth energy here is 30% denser than the outside world. I don't even need any pills." Because Li Fuchen's cultivation technique progressed too quickly, he would usually need pills to cultivate, or else the heaven and earth energy wouldn't be enough. But in Xianxia town, Li Fuchen realized that he didn't even need to consume pills. The dense heaven and earth energy was enough to satisfy his needs. Pills have impurities. Consuming too many isn't a good thing. Too many qi impurities will affect the cultivation speed. But if I don't consume pills, I won't be able to increase my cultivation speed. It is all about balance. At this stage, it would be great if I could cultivate in Xianxia town. The heaven and earth energy here was 20% denser than the outside world. It was enough for Li Fuchen to increase his cultivation at a high speed without consuming pills. Of course, this was only at this stage. Once his cultivation level increased, he would require more heaven and earth energy. By then, he would still require pills. 3 days later, the atmosphere of Xianxia town was getting tense. The scouts of Xianxia town had already detected that the demonic beasts at the edge of the Guangshou Mountains were increasing. It was estimated that within a week, the beast wave would erupt. Chapter 105. My soul spirit is already 50% pale blue in color, but I am still unable to cultivate 4 mystic class, low-tier martial arts to the highest rank. It seems like something is restricting me. In the inn's guest room, Li Fuchen was trying to comprehend the Meteor Fall sword move. Meteor Fall was a kill move. When martial artists dueled, under the condition that both sides had similar basic ability, speed and kill move was the deciding factor. If the kill move was strong enough, it would be enough to kill in a single blow. This was something other moves couldn't achieve. But for the past 2 years, Meteor Fall was still unable to reach the trance stage. Cultivation was one of the reasons, but there was another more important reason. Mystic class martial arts corresponded to Earth Realm and Heaven Realm martial artists. Normally, only Earth Realm martial artists could cultivate a mystic class, low-tier martial art to the trance stage. But other than that, there was something else that was restricting Li Fuchen. After all, when Li Fuchen was at the Qi realm, he was able to cultivate a yellow class, peak-tier martial art to the trance stage. With his perception, it wasn't difficult for him to surpass a realm to comprehend a martial art. Perhaps it is because of my foundation. Li Fuchen's mind was sharp. He found the crux of the problem from the 3 stages of the completion stage. The mastery realm was divided into 3 realms, namely the perfection realm, the great perfection realm, and the trance realm. Generally speaking, subperfection was already considered to be the highest level of a martial art. But the perfection stage was at the extremity. Not only was it powerful, it was also exquisite. The trance stage, as the name suggests, was beyond the original level of the martial art. It was a fusion of other martial arts, which required the support of a foundation, which is why any martial art that reached the trance stage would be considered as one's own martial art. It would be different from the original creator's martial art. The reason why Origin Realm martial artists couldn't cultivate a mystic class, low-tier martial art to the trance stage wasn't only because of their cultivation level, but also because of their lack of foundation. Li Fuchen was able to comprehend yellow class, high-tier, and peak-tier martial arts to the trance stage when he was at the Qi realm, mainly because he had already cultivated plenty of yellow class martial arts. Other than that, yellow class martial arts were foundation martial arts and didn't contain much mysticism. But mystic class martial arts contained much more mysticism and required a higher foundation. No wonder all the powerful swordsmen practice the 100 sword arts. Just one sword art is not enough to make a powerful swordsman. Li Fuchen understood in his heart. At this moment, if there were others here and heard Li Fuchen's words, they would definitely be indescribably shocked. Generally speaking, it was hard for Earth Realm martial artists to have such comprehension. Only when one's martial Dao or sword Dao reached an extremely high level would one be able to clearly feel the importance of one's foundation. Looks like I'll have to exchange for some yellow class martial arts when I return. Finding the source of the problem, Li Fuchen felt a lot more relaxed. There was nothing to be afraid of when there was a problem, but he was afraid of not being able to find a solution. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. On the 4th night, buzz. A mournful horn sounded. The demonic beasts are attacking. The demonic beasts are attacking. Outside the east gate of Xianxia town, more than 10 scouts on demonic blood horses were running back, screaming. What? Attack at night? Damn it, I can't see well at night. It's too dangerous. Xianxia town. Everyone put on their clothes and ran to the streets. Attack at night? In the inn's guest room, Li Fuchen frowned. When the beast wave broke out at night, it was the most dangerous. The casualty rate was at least double of the daytime. Picking up the leather armor on the side of the bed, Li Fuchen put it on. This leather armor was a Class 3 demonic beast leather armor. It was worth at least 20,000 gold coins in the outside world and was redeemed by Li Fuchen after spending 10,000 contribution points. It was able to reduce the damage sustained by the martial artist, especially the laceration damage. Exiting the inn, Li Fuchen skimmed towards the east gate's wall. Along the way, Li Fuchen could already hear the faint rumbling of thunder. On the wall, there was a dense crowd of people standing on it. They were basically all Origin Realm martial artists. Within the crowd, Li Fuchen gathered chi in his eyes. Looking through the night, he gazed into the distance. He couldn't help but take in a breath of cold air. Under the night sky, a black mass of demonic beasts surged over like a tide. Flying in the sky, running on the ground, all sorts of demonic beasts were gathered together. It was hard to imagine how the Xianxia Mountains could have so many demonic beasts. Demonic beasts are too fertile. Every year during the beast wave, so many demonic beasts would die. The next year, there would still be the same number. Some demonic beasts can only give birth to one at a time. Some can give birth to dozens or even hundreds of demonic beasts. It is impossible to kill them all. That's right. The Xianxia Mountains has limited resources. If there are too many demonic beasts crowding inside, it will only bring about their own destruction. That is why they need to invade more places and require more food. The Xianxia Mountains is too huge. It is the largest mountain range in the Zhonglan region. I reckon that not only Xianxia City is facing a beast wave, but also the nearby Ironblood City and Violent Wind City. Even the Violent Saber sect on the opposite side of the Xianxia Mountains are facing a beast wave. The Origin Realm martial artists around Li Fuchen were discussing with helpless expressions. Hearing the discussions, Li Fuchen agreed in his heart. For millions of years, demonic beasts were never eradicated. It was because of their fast reproduction rate. If you killed one, it would give birth to 2. If you killed 10, it would give birth to 20. Small mountains like the Misty Mountains were still all right. There would only be a beast wave every few years. But the Xianxia Mountains was huge. Basically, there would be a beast wave every year. Every decade, there would be a large-scale beast wave. During the large-scale beast wave, many experts from the sect would rush over to help defend against the beast wave. If not, the Xianxia city wouldn't be able to defend against it. As everyone was discussing, the beast wave was getting closer. The ground shook violently, as though a flood was about to overflow. Everyone listened to my command and attack at any time. On top of the wall stood the mayor of Xianxia town. Xianxia town was the first strategic town of Xianxia city. The mayor was also an Earth Realm martial artist. Other than that, many outer sect elders, inner sect deacons, outer sect deacons, and inner sect deacon disciples were also here. Below the wall, there was an army of a few thousand men. Among them, other than the army of Xianxia town, there was an even stronger army. Zhonglan army. The Zhonglan army was a sect army. The lowest cultivation level of the soldiers was at the Origin realm. Once a sect war broke out, the Zhonglan army would be at the forefront. Hence, During normal times, it was especially important to train the soldiers. Defending against the beast wave was undoubtedly a good opportunity to train the soldiers. This was just a small portion of the Zhonglan army. The Zhonglan army had a total of more than 200,000 men. When the beast wave was 1,000 meters away from Shoshue town, Shoshue town's first wave of long-range attacks began. Hundreds of catapults hurled out giant rocks. These rocks smashed into the beast wave and easily killed 3 to 5 demonic beasts. At the same time, it slowed down the spreading speed of the beast wave. But even though the catapults were formidable, there were too many demonic beasts. In just a short moment, the beast wave had already spread to a few hundred meters away. Open the gates and attack. Chapter 106. When everyone landed, the beast tide was already in front of them. Kill! At the beginning of the beast tide outbreak, everyone was not afraid. Generally, the ones charging at the front were all level 1 demonic beasts, while the stronger demonic beasts were at the back. Therefore, as long as they were not alone, there was basically no danger to their lives. Seeing that the demonic beasts were right in front of them, all of them burst forth with their Xianxia and killed the demonic beasts courageously. Pu piu piu piu. The blood of the demonic beasts splattered crazily. Like harvesting rice, the demonic beasts fell one after another. Li Fuchen's wind shadow steps had already reached the perfection stage and his body was as light as a feather. After he jumped down from the sky, his feet didn't touch the ground, and he easily slid more than 10 meters away. While he was sliding, he waved the black iron sword in his hand, and a huge arc of sword light appeared, killing 3 or 4 level 1 beasts. Then, a cross-shaped sword light flashed, and another 3 or 4 level 1 beasts were killed. Using powerful martial arts to deal with low-level demonic beasts was a very stupid action. The more powerful a martial art was, the more Xianxia it would consume, resulting in unnecessary wastage. Of course, if one was strong enough, they wouldn't even need to use low-tier yellow-class martial arts. They could just use normal attacks. Li Fuchen wanted to clear a place to land, which was why he executed the low-tier, yellow-class crescent sword style and tiger fang cross slash. After landing, Li Fuchen slashed a class 1 demonic beast with each slash. Not far away, Liao Hailong, Wu Qingmei, and Gao Changtian were also killing demonic beasts. But it was different from Li Fuchen's solo fight. Liao Hailong's group of 9 formed a formation. This formation was like a meat grinder. Wherever they moved, there would be a rain of blood and the demonic beasts would fall in droves. There is indeed strength in numbers. In fact, Li Fuchen didn't reject joining the team. But it was a pity that Liao Hailong didn't see eye to eye with him. If he joined, he would only be bullied. Myriad Blossom Sword Art. On the other side, the moment Plum Sword, Chen Fanghua, and Zhao Mingyue landed on the ground, they immediately burst forth with astonishing attacks. Especially Chen Fanghua. She, who was at the 8th level of the Origin Realm, was incomparably powerful. With a flick of the pale red artifact sword in her hand, countless pale red sword lights blossomed like 100 flowers blooming at the same time. Pu piu piu piu. At least dozens of level 1 demonic beasts had died under this sword. This was no longer a simple instant kill, but a group kill. Chi release. An Origin Realm martial artist is actually able to release Chi. This is unimaginably terrifying. The surrounding Origin Realm martial artists were overwhelmed with shock as their voices trembled. Normally, only an Earth Realm martial artist would be able to externalize Chi. Those who were able to externalize Chi at the Origin Realm were all elite prodigies. Chen Fanghua and Zhao Mingyue landed on the ground after clearing a huge area. Then, just like everyone else, they killed the demonic beasts 1 at a time or 2 at a time. Is this the Myriad Blossom Sword Art, an area of effect sword technique? Li Fuchen saw this scene in his eyes. It was the same sword technique, but there were many types. Some sword techniques had many variations and were good at confusing the opponent. Some sword arts were lethal and suitable for solo duels, like Li Fuchen's meteor sword style. Some sword techniques were suitable for group attacks, such as Chen Fanghua's Myriad Blossom sword technique. Of course, The area of effect sword technique was also quite powerful in a one-on-one fight. In a situation where the opponent had no flaws, a single myriad blossom sword technique attack would be enough to make the opponent flustered and unable to take care of himself. However, no matter how powerful an Origin Realm martial artist was, he was still an Origin Realm martial artist. On the walls, none of the Earth Realm martial artists moved. A mere Class 1 demonic beast wasn't worthy for them to make a move. Their opponents were Class 3 demonic beasts. But if any demonic beasts approached the walls, they would still make a move. A wave of dozens of demonic beasts didn't even have the chance to collide with the walls when one of the Zhonglan Outer Sect elders made his move. With a wave of his hand, a ferocious chi force was like an enraged dragon, colliding with the demonic beasts and creating a bloody storm. A wave of demonic beasts were all jolted to death. Such a simple method was several folds better than Xianxia's. No wonder he is an Earth Realm martial artist. To Li Fuchen, beheading Class 1 demonic beasts was as easy as eating and drinking. Others would put all their attention on the demonic beasts, but he was able to see and listen in all directions. As long as a demonic beast came near, he would immediately pierce through its vitals with a single blade. The commotion at the back naturally didn't escape his eyes. This was the first time he saw an Earth Realm martial artist in action. It was indeed horrifying. Of course, when compared to a Heaven Realm martial artist, it was still a far cry. During the Inner Sect Disciple exam, that Heaven Realm Inner Sect Elder created an ice road on the Thousand Waterfall River with a wave of his hand. Don't even mention one Earth Realm martial artist, even 10 Earth Realm martial artists would probably be frozen in a single palm. As time passed, Class 2 demonic beasts started to appear. Class 2 demonic beasts were extremely formidable. A single Class 2 mid-tier demonic beast was enough to go against a mid-level Origin Realm martial artist from the Zhonglan army. As for those Origin Realm martial artists that didn't belong to the Zhonglan sect, it would take 2 or 3 of them to go against a single Class 2 mid-tier demonic beast. Only the Zhonglan Inner Sect disciples could suppress a Class 2 mid-tier demonic beast at the same cultivation realm. Speaking of which, one has to mention the difference between demonic beasts and martial artists. Every time a demonic beast advanced a cultivation realm, its ability would increase by at least 10 folds. But if a martial artist didn't cultivate a formidable technique, every time they advanced a cultivation realm, the increase in ability would be far inferior to a demonic beast. For example, if you cultivated a yellow class high-tier technique during the Qi realm, and when you reached the Origin realm, you would still be cultivating a yellow class high-tier technique. Then you wouldn't be a match for a Class 2 demonic beast at the same cultivation realm. Hence, to deal with a Class 2 demonic beast, one would need to cultivate at least a yellow class peak-tier technique. In the Zhonglan army, most of the Origin Realm martial artists cultivated yellow class peak-tier techniques. Only a small portion of them cultivated mystic class, low-tier techniques. As for the Zhonglan Inner Sect disciples, they were all at least at the 5th level of the Origin Realm. Hence, they all cultivated mystic class, mid-tier techniques, which allowed them to suppress Class 2 demonic beasts. Piercing the throat of a Class 2 mid-tier demonic beast, Li Fuchen thought to himself, when I reach the Earth Realm, if I am still cultivating the mystic class, mid-tier Scarlet Mystic Flame technique, I won't have much of an advantage against Class 3 demonic beasts. Unless I have other advantages, or cultivate a higher tier technique. Thinking about this, Li Fuchen couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. The growth potential of demonic beasts was simply terrifying. It was said that to deal with a Class 5 demonic beast, one would need to cultivate at least a mystic class, peak-tier technique. But a mystic class, peak-tier technique wasn't too safe, only an earth class, low-tier technique was the real insurance. Does the Zhonglan sect have any earth class techniques? Li Fuchen had his doubts. Of course, other than cultivation techniques, martial artists also had martial arts. Relying on martial arts, one could make up for their weaknesses. If not, the human race would have long been wiped out by the demonic beasts. Class 2 high-tier demonic beast. Returning to his senses, Li Fuchen saw a high-leveled Origin Realm martial artist being torn apart by a gorilla. Blood rained down from the sky, creating a bloody scene. Howl howl. The gorilla demonic beast beat its chest with a violent chi presence. Suddenly, it turned its scarlet eyes and looked at Li Fuchen. Boom, 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 as it strode forward, all the Origin Realm martial artists along the way were sent flying. Their bones were broken and their tendons snapped. If they didn't die, they would be crippled. Chapter 107. This is not good. It's actually an ironback gorilla. Li Fuchen frowned. The steelback gorilla was a Class 2 high-tier demonic beast that was extremely powerful. Its physical strength was around 20,000 kilograms. Coupled with its savage demonic chi, tearing apart a high-leveled Origin Realm martial artist wasn't a problem. As for the reason why he was targeted, it was very simple. Humans needed materials from demonic beasts, and demonic beasts needed human flesh and blood. Li Fuchen's physical strength was at least 15,000 kilograms. In the eyes of the ironback gorilla, Li Fuchen was undoubtedly a great tonic that could move. A dozen steps later, the ironback gorilla arrived in front of Li Fuchen. With a height of 3 to 4 meters, its fist was the size of a water tank. It sent a punch at Li Fuchen. The violent fist wind scraped the ground by 3 inches, causing Li Fuchen's hair to fly up. Rumble! A huge pit appeared, and mud flew everywhere. The ironback gorilla retracted its fist and looked into the crater. It couldn't help but be puzzled. Could it be that this punch had smashed the other party into smithereens, to the point where not even his bones remained? Watch my sword! Behind the ironback gorilla, Li Fuchen was in mid-air, brandishing his sword. This sword was extremely dazzling, like a meteor streaking across the sky. The light and speed of that instant was enough to make one's heart tremble. Puchi! The demonic aura of the ironback gorilla was no different from a piece of paper in front of this sword. Once the demonic aura was broken, the ironback gorilla was directly exposed to this sword. The next moment, blood spurted out, and a bloody hole appeared at the back of the ironback gorilla's head. But Li Fuchen shook his head. Based on the subtle reaction from the black iron sword, he knew that this sword didn't penetrate the skull of the ironback gorilla. Stepping on the back of the ironback gorilla, Li Fuchen flew backwards and dodged the ironback gorilla's punch. The injured ironback gorilla was enraged and chased after Li Fuchen in a frenzy. But the ironback gorilla wasn't good at speed. How could it catch up to Li Fuchen? It was so angry that it kept howling. Myriad blossom sword art. Countless sword lights burst out. It was unknown when Li Fuchen and the ironback gorilla entered Chen Fenghua's battle zone. Taking a glance at Li Fuchen, Chen Fenghua brazenly made her move. In the blink of an eye, the ironback gorilla had turned into a hornet's nest. Its entire body was covered in bloody holes. However, the tough defense of the ironback gorilla did not die, which surprised Chen Fenghua a little. Die! Chen Fenghua changed her sword technique and pierced through the ironback gorilla's throat. Many thanks. Li Fuchen thanked. Chen Fenghua smiled faintly and said, Your qinggong isn't bad. Even the ironback gorilla can't catch up to you. Although the ironback gorilla was not good at speed, it was only relatively speaking. Li Fuchen, who was only at the 4th level of the Origin Realm, was able to escape the pursuit of the steelback gorilla so easily. It was obvious that his light body technique was at a high level. Why don't the 3 of us form a team? Zhao Mingyue suggested. She was rather curious about Li Fuchen. If they teamed up, she might be able to find out a thing or two. All right, I have no objections. Chen Fenghua nodded. I have no objections either. Li Fuchen thought about it and nodded. No matter what, the other party had helped him solve a problem, and he couldn't just turn his back on him. With the 3-man team, their efficiency increased significantly. Chen Fenghua was the spearhead, while Li Fuchen and Zhao Mingyue were on the left and right. Their efficiency in killing the demonic beasts wasn't inferior to Liao Hailong's group. But the only thing that made Li Fuchen gloomy was that Chen Fenghua and Zhao Mingyue would occasionally look at him. He didn't think that the 2 of them had a good impression of him and were probably trying to dig out his secret. If a secret is so easy to dig out, is it still a secret? Li Fuchen thought to himself. What Li Fuchen didn't know was that Chen Fanghua and Zhao Mingyue were shocked in their hearts. They witnessed Li Fuchen's moves. It was abnormally sharp. With a flash of his sword, his speed was as fast as a spark. Every blade had immense power, far exceeding an inner sect disciple who was at the 5th or 6th level of the origin realm. Zhao Mingyue couldn't help but ask, Li Fuchen, what rank is your Scarlet Mystic Flame technique at? Her cultivation was on par with Li Fuchen. The Bright Jade Mystic technique was at the 10th rank. She reckoned that Li Fuchen's Scarlet Mystic Flame technique should be at the 11th rank. Chen Fanghua couldn't help but look at Li Fuchen too. She had been an inner sect disciple for over 6 years, but was only at the 12th rank of the Green Origin Mystic technique. Li Fuchen felt there was no need to hide. 13th rank. 13th rank? That's good. Zhao Mingyue nodded subconsciously, but soon realized something was wrong. Her mouth opened wide and was dumbfounded. 13th rank. Chen Fanghua took in a deep, cold breath. Cultivation techniques were always harder to cultivate than martial arts. The difficulty of a mystic class, mid-tier technique was comparable to a mystic class, high-tier martial arts. Even though it didn't have many restrictions for martial artists, as long as they were at the origin realm, they could cultivate it. But for a mystic class, high-tier martial art, without reaching the earth realm, it was hard to grasp its essence. But no matter what, it was still a mystic class, mid-tier technique. To break through 1 rank in a year was already considered a prodigy. To break through 2 ranks in a year, even a 5-star bone frame couldn't do it. Li Fuchen broke through from the 7th rank to the 13th rank, a total of 6 ranks. When I was in the outer sect, I had already cultivated the Scarlet Mystic Flame technique to the 9th rank. 2 ranks in a year isn't too bad, right? Li Fuchen replied. Zhao Mingyue rolled her eyes. The higher the rank, the harder it is to progress. Wait, what did you say just now? You cultivated the Scarlet Mystic Flame technique to the 9th rank when you were in the outer sect? How is that possible? At the Qi realm, to be able to raise a mystic class, mid-tier technique by 1 rank, to the 8th rank, was already considered a demon class. Only 5-star bone frames could do it. 5-star bone frames and below required the consumption of cultivation technique pills. Li Fuchen actually raised 2 ranks in the Qi realm. Did he even want to live? Chen Fanghua tried her best to suppress her emotions. Your perception, in our Zhanglan sect, is probably only comparable to sword maniac Xianxia. She didn't mean that Li Fuchen could be compared to sword maniac, but that sword maniac could be compared to him. In her heart, she felt that sword maniac was only SOS. My perception is the only thing that is worth mentioning. Li Fuchen used a single blade to slay a class 2 low-tier demonic beast. Zhao Mingyue said, if only I had your level of comprehension. Finishing her statement, her face was filled with envy. With a 4-star bone frame, if her perception was at Li Fuchen's level, even a 5-star bone frame wouldn't be as valuable. Is your bone frame really just a normal bone frame? Zhao Mingyue couldn't help but ask. Li Fuchen replied, if I had a star-grade bone frame, do you think I would still be at the 4th level of the origin realm? That's true. Zhao Mingyue nodded. Yuan Tian's perception isn't as good as yours, but he is already at the 5th level of the origin realm. The improvement of the bone frame was a multifaceted process, but perception was just one aspect. As time passed, the pressure on everyone increased. At the start, there would only be 1 class 2 demonic beast in 100 class 1 demonic beasts. Now, there would be 1 class 2 demonic beast in every 10 class 1 demonic beasts. Bang bang. On the battlefield, an inner sect disciple crushed his SOS talisman, following which, a colorful firework shot up into the sky. On top of the wall, an outer sect elder flew over and grabbed the inner sect disciple. Then, he killed 3 class 2 demonic beasts that surrounded him with a single palm strike. Consuming a Qi returning pill, Zhao Mingyue said, there are more and more class 2 demonic beasts. We have to team up with the others. Chen Fanghua didn't have much pressure at the moment, but she agreed with Zhao Mingyue's opinion. Just as the 3 of them were preparing to move, from afar, there was a sudden explosion of dozens of horrific Qi presences. Countless Class 1 and Class 2 demonic beasts were stimulated by the boundless chi presences, becoming even more frenzied and fearless. Class 3 demonic beasts. Welcome to Legends of Cultivation audiobooks, where we bring ancient fantasy to life through storytelling. Follow the rise of heroes who defy fate, unlock mystical powers, and battle across celestial realms. Our audiobooks are crafted for fans of Chinese cultivation novels, filled with battles, breakthroughs, and legendary artifacts. Subscribe and be part of an unforgettable journey into the realm of immortality.